Welcome to Living Lighter Today. Today we're going to be diving into a subject that I think is incredibly powerful. It's going to change your thoughts as to how you look at shame. Now, the title of this teaching is Why Does Shame Produce Negative Behaviors? Now, the shame grid, as we know it, and you can see it there on the screen, the shame grid is the gateway to the mind. The mind is the place where we make all of our decisions. We also activate our emotions and our will from our mind as well, which can greatly influence the decisions that we make about who we think we are. Now, at the front door of your mind is the shame grid. This shame grid has been established and fortified in us beginning in our mother's womb. The shame grid continues to be formed in us as a young baby and as we grow and we move into childhood and adolescence and even into adulthood. Now, the shame grid creates a belief system. In other words, what you believe about yourself is often created through shaming messages that are delivered by outside sources, such as parents, teachers, friends, and other family members. And it has been reinforced down through the years. When you hear the same shaming message over and over and over again, it gets reinforced. Now, this belief system is forged over time. And the shame grid perpetuates a continuous cycle of shame. Now, the shaming process, let's take a look at it. And let's see the give up shame cycle in action. First, you must accept that one of your outside sources, that they are reliable and they're trustworthy. Often we trust our parents. We trust teachers, relatives, pastors, friends as reliable sources for information about ourselves. In other words, in order for me to have the power to shame you, you have to believe that I have the power to determine the value of you as a person. Now, next, you have to believe what the outside sources are saying about you, which is often the case as you give them the power in your life. In other words, you have to believe what they say about you to be true. Now, over time, as you continue to hear the same shaming messages over and over again, your shame grid becomes formed, and you begin to agree with their assessment of you. Well, why is this? Because if you hear that shaming message over and over and over and over again, down through the years and the decades, you begin to come into agreement with their assessment of you. Now, finally, because of the shame grid, you become the judge and the jury for who you are. You conclude that what the outside sources have said about you must be true. And you condemn yourself in the courtroom of your mind. Now, after years and years of practice, this pattern becomes normal for you. You never question the outside sources. You simply accept their assessment of you as factual. Now, next, let's take a look at your behavior. In this particular case, it's a negative behavior. When your behavior is consistent with your shame, the cycle is nearly complete. You will typically do the exact same thing that you hate to do. You do the very negative behavior that you believe lines up with the outside source's assessment of who you are. In other words, listen to this. You choose to do a negative behavior. Why? Because that negative behavior lines up with what you truly believe about yourself. Now, unfortunately, you have fulfilled the expectations of your outside sources because you acted just like they thought you would. The irony is that the cycle is not complete just yet. You see, it starts over. That's why it's called a cycle. It goes over and over again. You will continue to stay in relationships that enable you to feel as bad as you need to feel about yourself. Now, this is not, my friends, just a portrait of an imaginary situation. This is real, and many individuals deal with this on a regular day-to-day basis. But there is hope as you continue to watch these various shame videos, especially the shame video on the try hard cycle and more specifically even the shame video on the rest cycle. You can receive help and you can see hope working in your life on a daily basis. There really, really is hope. You're not alone. So I want to thank you for listening to Living Lighter Today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.